All right, guys, welcome back to THI. I'm Jacob Turner. He's Andrew Jones. We're here for a UNC football-related drop as fall camp is fastly approaching, AJ. It is officially almost here. You can almost smell it, AJ. You can smell that grass. You can smell the shoulder pads. You can smell that kind of stuff. Football is in the air, as I like to say here. So it's an exciting time, and I'm sure Carolina fans are looking forward to it. But AJ, in this drop, we're going to be talking about some things, kind of the major things we're going to be keeping our eyes and ears open for on the offensive side for Carolina football during fall camp. And the reason I phrase it like that, AJ, is because as of right now, I have no idea what kind of access we're going to be getting during fall camp. We used to get like interviews every day under Mac. You like lived in Chapel Hill for about a month. I mean, we have no idea what we're getting into this fall camp. So I had to phrase it a little differently than I typically would.
I've been trying to find out officially the first day of practice for the last 6 weeks.
Yeah, it's typically August 1st, but it's August 2nd.
Well, typically it depends on when the opener is. Last year let me rephrase. A lot of people associate August 1st with they had an early opener last year, so I think they opened August 28th, so the first practice was July 29th, I think, last year.
I think you were right. Yeah, I think it was a little
now they open August 1st, so most teams in the ACC open Tuesday, Wednesday, but Carolina opens the 2nd. I mean, it was trying to pry out. I don't know. I don't even have a good one for that. It was really hard to try to just get that information. And we still don't know when practice is. We still don't know what the access is. And that's fine. That's the way it's going to be. It's very different from MAC. And I'm okay with it because that's the way they run the program. So we're the ones that have to adapt to them. They don't adapt to us. We adapt to them. And I think I personally am mentally prepared for that, which is why you said we don't really know what to expect because we don't know how much we're going to be able to gauge. But we do know the team, we do know the roster, and I think the offensive side is a little bit more clear, cut and dry than the defensive side right now, from approach to personnel groupings. So defense will be a little bit harder to discuss. Offense, I think, will be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I agree. And again, we're here to kind of discuss some of the biggest things that we'll kind of be looking out for, whatever that access might be. But regardless, these are kind of the biggest storylines or things that I think Carolina fans will be looking into. So I think, number one, you have to start with the quarterback position. I think as a whole, we're going to be curious about what does the offensive scheme look like. I mean, I think obviously that comes with the territory, but I think when you hone in on specific position groups, if you want to approach it that way, that quarterback position is the number one question mark on the team, really. I thought Gio Lopez was extremely impressive at ACC kickoff, but again, he is a guy coming into a new program, coming from a lower, level at South Alabama, and a guy that's going to have to adapt, or is it maybe somebody else in that room that maybe ends up stepping up and taking those reins? Doesn't feel like it, but I think Gio Lopez is the guy that his position to lose, as they say. So I think that's the number one. I think we have to go ahead and get that out of the way. The scheme is there. We want to know what the scheme looks like. We need to understand a little bit more about that. We think it's going to be a pro style, offense, obviously, with what's been said about Carolina being the 33rd NFL team about 7,000 times. But I think that quarterback position is the number one thing that I think 90% of Carolina fans, maybe even higher than that, are not necessarily concerned about, but intrigued about. Because, I don't think saying it's not rocket science, AJ. I think quarterback position, no matter what level of football you're playing at, it's pretty important. You got a guy there who can sling the rock a little bit.
Bill was asked Thursday at the ACC kickoff if Gio being there meant Gio as a starter. And he gave his very typical vanilla yogurt answer or non-flavored yogurt. How about that? Original, plain?
Yeah,
plain
just an original plain. Yeah.
You got to go find blueberries and raspberries and stick them in there, right? And some banana. Yeah. No, he gave his plain yogurt answer, which is fine. But I was driving back from Charlotte and I listened to his interview with the guys on the College Sports Network, and it was aired on the ACC radio network. And Roddy Jones was one of the guys. Roddy Jones and what's his name? He's done some Carolina. He played at Oklahoma. I'm drawing a blank on his name. They asked him about quarterback and about has Gio had enough time? Well, he said Gio arrived in the middle of May, which would give him 2 months with the guys. Which it's amazing how quickly dudes that age can gel and become boys. Also, he threw in there that Max Johnson's doing everything now. He said he's doing everything.
Yeah, that name, his name keeps coming up. You can't.
Look, you cannot overlook his experience. You cannot overlook the fact that he's 6'5". You can't overlook the fact that he threw 47 touchdown passes, only 12 interceptions in the SEC. People say he's injury prone, but you know what? He played a whole game in the SEC against Ole Miss with 2 broken ribs.
He's tough kid.
It's tough.
Yeah.
So, look how quickly he came back from the injury last year when there were people in the program telling us, we don't know if he'll ever walk without a limp again. And he's back. He's a tough, tough guy. You cannot overcount that. That's a competitor. Is he a tougher competitor than Gio? They didn't have Gio in the spring.
Yeah.
He's going to show up and be in pads. I don't pencil him in because competition can change things. And you've got a driven dude who could have gone off and said, you know what, I want to become a coach. Comes from a family of means. He didn't have to stay in and make a lot of money and that kind of thing. He could have maybe gone a different direction. And he saw this giant Mount Everest to hurdle. And he did it. So I'm not going to pencil in Gio. I think Gio will be the starter. I don't think go out and spend $2 million a year on him and not start him. But I think that Max will be in position to push him. If nothing else, one thing Mac Brown was pretty good at a couple of times, certainly with Sam his first year, was giving the impression there was this big competition. I mean, there was no competition with Drake and Jacoby. There was none. You and I did a pod that first day. It is Drake's a trillion years ahead of Jacoby. Others thought Jacoby would actually get the job, believe it or not. But I think Gio gets to start Jacob. I think he's the guy, but I think Max is there to push him. I think Max is there to show him the way. Max has credibility because of his father, because he's a gamer in the game. He's someone that the guys last year said, even before the injury, he was always working with him and teaching him. Connor Harrell, Jacoby Criswell, et cetera. So he's a good teammate. So I think that's just going to make Gio a little bit better. If Gio wins the job and gets a start, I don't think it's by default. I think he's going to be pushed some from his competitive edge is going to show one way or another in fall camp. How we can get that information and we can find that out, I don't know, because I don't know what our access is going to be, but that's going to be something to look at. And that's going to be something to ask about when we get those opportunities.
Let's talk about the skill positions real quick. Wide receiver, running back. I think the running back room, everybody's kind of assuming Davion Goss is going to be the guy. I mean, Benjamin Hall, the Michigan transfer, is some intrigue there with what his role might be. Could he maybe, push for that starting spot? I think you got Caleb Hood, who's been around the program for a while. Like you've kind of mentioned with Mac Johnson, just really struggled to stay healthy. But when he has played, he has been a pretty good producer for North Carolina. So I think that group is in good shape. And I think the same thing with the wide receiver room. It seems like Jordan Shipp is kind of being put out in this pedestal a little bit with how he's been out with the media and also with AC Kickoff. It feels like he's kind of the face of that room right now. But there's also a lot of guys in that room that I think can step up and do some nice things for the Tar Heels as well. So it feels like if the quarterback position's there, if Gio Lopez ends up being good or whoever ends up starting, if they are solid at quarterback, it feels like the skill positions and even the O-line to an extent, which we'll talk about in a little bit, is in pretty good shape. I think the thing to watch in fall camp, again, it depends how much access we get. But one of the biggest storylines typically would be, okay, but what does the rotation look like? Who's starting at running back? Who's the second running back? And what does the wide receiver rotation look like? Because, again, a lot of talent in those rooms, but how exactly does it shake out, especially under a completely new regime? I think in a lot of ways there's a lot of spots open right now. We're just going to have to see how that competition plays out during fall camp.
Yeah, and I think that room is going to go hand in hand, obviously, with the quarterback. Yeah. Because the big question for me, going back to Gio, and this is also that room, so it's connected to that room here, is he must show that he can make the third and sixth throw. Snap, look, time, lock, go. If he could do that consistently, and if he could do it on third, they can use that on first. They can use it a lot of times. I think that opens up potential for going over the top of the defense. If he can go over the top, he's got some guys there that can take the top off. Or Jordan Shipp could take the freaking top off.
Yeah.
Right? So if you can go consistently third and six, and that allows you to go anything else in six, right? Then you could go deep and hit some big stuff if Gio has that in him. Remember, he's 6 feet. So third and six, snap, read, lock, go at 6 feet as opposed to 6'5" like Max. That's the reason why I think Gio's going to be the guy, like I said, but Max can at least push him and help him, make him better. If he can do that, those receivers are going to be able to show more of their skills. I like that room. Don't worry about household names. Everybody that became a household name wasn't a household name until they were, right? So I think Jordan Shipp I asked Bill Friday or Thursday about Jordan. I asked quick follow-up, as I've learned. You can get some goods from him with a quick follow-up. And he said the right thing. So I think breakthrough is an absolute for Jordan Shipp. Unless he gets injured and unless they have massive problems at quarterback, I think Jordan Shipp breaks through. I think Chris Culliver is a guy no one's talking about that can have a really good year. Culliver physically reminds me a little bit of like De'Ami Brown, someone like that. I think there's some similarities. The kid that they got from Michigan State's going to be a factor.
Isaiah Johnson, he could be.
Yeah, and then Kobe Paysour. Kobe Paysour before the injury was a fun player and a fun guy. Kobe has kind of gone like this since then, on the field with some of his health and with some other things. If Kobe is like this year, and he's just focusing on being a baller and nothing else gets in the way, he's someone I think can have a really, really big year. And you work them with the tight ends, they're pretty solid at tight end. They've got some talent there, and they've got some bodies again. They lost a lot of guys, but they brought in guys. So I think that the people that the quarterback throws the ball to, I think that they're in pretty solid shape. They're not the best group in the ACC, but more than good enough, especially for the kind of approach I think they're going to have to moving the ball.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And again, at the running back too, I think, Davion Goss poised for a breakout year. It feels
Yeah.
Again, you got Benjamin Hall coming in from Michigan, who's produced. You got some other guys in that
Don't
range.
sleep on Charleston French.
Charleston French as well.
From a year ago. I like him. Mm-hmm. He's there for a reason. Look, when you go from that level to the ACC, and that group not only thought of you, he's had two completely coaching staffs think highly of him now. Because let's face it, the guys that are still in Chapel Hill are there because A, they could cut it, and B, the coaches still wanted them there.
Yes.
They got 70 new players. 52 guys, scholarship players from last year's roster, are gone. Charleston French is still there. So that means Mac Brown and his group said, yep, we like him. And that means Bill Belichick and his group said, yep, we like him. And the common denominator in both is Freddie Kitchens, who's seen him in both and obviously likes him. So don't sleep on Charleston French. But I agree that Davion Goss is the next big-time back at Carolina. I think he's the next 1,400-yard guy. And the thing about him is Carolina's got him for 2 more years unless he transfers. In the old days, we'd say, hey, they got him for 2 more years. And he is very well-rounded. He can catch the ball. He's a pass blocker. He's a smart guy. He's got great explosiveness, but he's really strong. You could bounce outside or you can run up the gut with Davion Goss. You can also throw to him. He's a guy that can play. He can play all the downs, but they won't need him to play all the downs because they have other guys. So I still think he's going to have a big year, and I like the depth in that room too. I like the skill on offense.
Oh, me too.
I'm not totally down on quarterback. I heard some people on some people on the national radio last night. They were talking about quarterback, and they're like, I don't really see a whole lot there. I'm like, yeah, but you have to take into consideration what he was playing with. I mean, his main year at quarterback was after South lost a lot of their receivers and offensive linemen. So you have to take those things into consideration.
Yeah, exactly. No, and again, I understand why some people are critical of it or are skeptical of it, which is because we just don't know. I mean, we just don't know what the production is going to be like there.
Makes it fun for us.
It does. It definitely does. Last thing, let's talk about the O-line for a second. I mean, obviously a pretty important position group. I think a lot of the success that a quarterback has is based on how good their offensive line is. I mean, how many times over the years have we talked about the O-line struggling and not being good enough, not protecting Drake and Sam enough? I mean, it is an incredibly important position group on the team, and I think it's an intriguing one, man. I think again, there's new faces down there. A guy like Christo Kelly, who's kind of been put out there again in these press conferences. I know he didn't go to media day, but he was during the summer press conference was put out there. A lot to like about him. You got some guys returning like a Trevion Green. I mean, there's some other transfers that have come in. I think that position is intriguing. I think that position depth wise, like you've mentioned, is better off than it has been in a couple years. But I kind of I think the question mark about it is, again, Christo Kelly, a lot to like about him. How does he play in a league like the ACC? How does he go up against, big P5 guys like that? It seems all signs point to him being able to adapt to that just fine. But as of right now, that is a question we're going to have going into the season. There's other, potential starters in that group that could have the same conversation. So how do you feel about the O-line right now? Because, again, a lot of let's say it's Gio Lopez. A lot of his success is going to be based on whether or not the guys in front of him can protect him or not. So, I mean, we'd be remiss if we didn't hone in on the O-line pretty hard and say, okay, what is this group going to look like? Because that's obviously going to have a major effect on how Carolina's season goes on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, how often is Gio forced to run because of them?
Yeah.
And then with him, how often does he run out of trouble? And is he one of those quarterbacks that sometimes runs into trouble too? Mm-hmm. All this stuff plays hand in hand. That's why it's a team sport. They have 9 returning starters on the offensive line. 9. Now there's center, 2 guards, 2 tackles. It's 5 spots. 9. That's because they have Aiden Manfield, Austin Blasky, and Trevion Green from Carolina. Mm-hmm. And they brought in 6 starters from the transfer portal. A lot of these guys are older, 1 year left. They're playing for their food. They're playing for their meal every day. The competition in that room is off the charts. Whatever access we get, I have to watch that group because I want to see if there's a discernible difference in the level of competition from basic drills that I've seen before. And I think we'll see that because usually when you go to the offensive line and watch them at practice, a lot of them are younger because it's the position group that has the most attrition. It's the position group in which guys fall out of love with football the most. It's so hard to stick because it's the one part of the field where you're guaranteed head contact pretty much at every snap.
Yeah.
You're going to make some kind of contact at every snap. You're moving backwards a lot. The injuries occur, head injuries. Go back if someone should do a study that has time, and go to the last 15 years of college football and look at all the players that retired during their college careers. And I bet you overwhelmingly offensive linemen's the position group that has the most of them. Mm-hmm. So when you go watch a practice, there's a lot of young guys that have bodies haven't filled out yet, guys that once their bodies fill out, then they have to add all the skill, the footwork, the hand placement, the hips, all that kind of stuff, not selling something before the snap. You dudes will just look that way. Instinctively, you look over the guy you're going to block and you sell it before the snap, and they know it's coming. So there's so many things that go into it. They've got a group right now. They know how not to sell. They know not to sell their eyes. These are older guys whose bodies are there where they need to be. These are guys who played a lot of snaps. They've dealt with all kinds of scenarios. They've pulled, they've crossed, they've done everything you can imagine. They have so much experience, and a lot of them have 1 year left, and they didn't go there to sit on the bench. They want to get on the field. Mm-hmm. They want to extend their careers. So the competition is going to be amazing. But also, I think this is going to be an offense that takes a lot of snaps. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be a spread. They're going to run an NFL style, and Bill Belichick will be thrilled if every scoring possession is 14 plays. That means you're going to need reserves. You're going to need to be fresh in the fourth quarter. So you're going to need to rotate some of these guys in. So instead of rotating somebody who's wet behind the ears, you're rotating in 22-year-old men, guys that have been legal to drink for a while. Guys that have voted in multiple presidential elections. That's the kind of dude you're going to rotate in there. I think that makes for a very intriguing group, and perhaps the position group on this team no one's talking about right now that could end up being its primary strength, its number one strength.
Yeah, I think the biggest question mark with that group, I agree with everything you said. I think the experience is great. The return, just the amount of snaps down there is great. We talk about it all the time with both lines of scrimmage. There was chemistry. How do they gel? I mean, again, you've got all these new guys coming in trying to, and a lot of these guys have been there for a while. So it's good. A lot of guys played, previously under Mac Brown, like a few of the guys you mentioned there. But I think that's the number one thing that we're not really going to know until we get in the season. But if there's any question mark or maybe concern with that group, I think it is that, because of how important that is for those position groups. But by position groups, I mean O-line and defensive line in particular. Is that maybe just the one thing you're kind of looking at and being like, that's the major question mark there?
Yeah, and as much as they love Christo Kelly, who they knew about right away because he was at Holy Cross and Belichick's daughter's the the women's lacrosse coach at Holy Cross.
I forgot about that.
There's a connection there. He was the first guy they brought in from the portal, but he still played at Holy Cross. Maybe that didn't matter. You look at NFL rosters, there's guys from places like that all over the league. But they have a lot of guys from Troy and Rice. The player at Rice used to be a teammate of Blaskey's at Georgia. So you've been around the highest of the high level. Maybe that's part of it. Some of these guys have to play 12 weeks against that kind of competition. But I honestly don't think Christo Kelly would have made such an immediate splash if that was going to be an issue.
Yeah.
They brought in a kid from Division II, Division III last year, and we never really heard much. He got to play in a couple of games because of attrition, but we never really heard a whole lot about, boy, he's arrived. You got to talk to him. Now, we did get to talk to him, and it's a great story. Yeah. It was a great interview because he had made progress, but he didn't come in and just like, okay, this is my offensive line. Christo Kelly's come in with 3 returning starters, and from what I understand, is basically said, okay, this is my offensive line.
That's what you want down there. I mean, that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, there's sort of a the personality of him is kind of what you want in a center. I think there's I know them going way back, and I'm going in the recesses of my mind because I covered him when I first started. But Jeff Saturday, I had some of the same personality traits that Christo Kelly has. I'm not saying he's Jeff Saturday, guys. I'm not saying that at all. But I think an offensive line that has a good vocal center who is like even keeled. He's not getting all over guys when they're not doing something right, but he knows how to communicate to them to get everybody on the same page. And he's always on top of his calls and everything else. And he's always that leader. The center, the old days when you huddle, had to gather everybody in the huddle. The center would go there and he'd put his hands up. Everyone would go gather on the center. That's the old days back when some of us played. I could see him, with the towel in the back of the pants. I could see Christo Kelly playing center in 1980. And I see him playing center now. And I think he's a Belichick guy. It goes back to the little chat I had with Will Hardy the other day. Belichick guys are football players. They're smart football players. What have I told you 1,000 times before? You and I both talk about this, Jacob. A 3-star who is great in pre-snap and has studied all week long is a 5-star in a film room and is a 5-star in pre-snap is going to be a 4+ star player. Yeah. A 5-star who is lackluster in the film room is confused in pre-snap more than he should be, is a 3-star player. Yeah. And Christo Kelly, from what I understand and what I can gauge, has a lot of those Belichick qualities that elevates a guy from what you see just in the simple specs.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's a guy that seems like is the leader of that group down there, and obviously needs to be if you're starting center down there. But I think he's poised to have a good year. But again, the question marks are there because of the new faces, because of how this group gels. And that's just goes for the whole team. I'm not saying anything out of turn here. I mean, there's just so much, roster turnover here and a new scheme being installed and, new coaches getting used to those guys that there is going to be a lot of newness here. There's going to be a lot of moving parts, and predicting what these groups are going to look like is a little bit tricky. But I do agree with you in the fact that room depth-wise looks very strong. And we always talk about how depth like that breeds competition, and competition brings out you want it, and it usually brings out the best in people. And I think that is a positive to have down there, because you're just like, oh yeah, we already know what the starting 5 is going to be, and they got some transfers who might play a little bit, but we don't really know. No, I don't think that's the situation Carolina's going into at all in that position group. I think it's one that's going to have a healthy and fair amount of competition down there for starting spots. Not only starting spots, but playing time, like you've said.
Well, one last thing about that, to your point, and your point's 100% spot on. Attrition. There's more attrition there than anywhere else. Guys are going to miss games.
Yeah.
So Daniel King is going to start some games probably, even if he doesn't win the starting job out of camp. So they have guys that have played a lot. They're going to be asked to go in, even if they don't win starting jobs. They're going to play a series here and there. They're going to be playing enough that if they're forced into a starting role, it's not going to be foreign to them. Like I said, they won't be wet behind the ears. So I like that about the line. And because of that, I give the offense a pretty fair shake. They want to ball control. They want to run. They got to hit those 3rd and 6s. And the offensive line has to be really good on 3rd and 6s, just like they do on 3rd and long.
Yeah.
And there's so much. This is a team sport. Everything is connected to everything. Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to see I can't wait to see the holder on the field goals.
Yeah,
you know?
I
can't wait to see all this kind of stuff. But there's so many new toys in the box, and we don't know if the toys work or not.
I know.
We don't know if they come batteries included or not. You know, we're going to open up the box, pull them all out, and see what needs batteries. And I think that's fun for fans. Probably nerve wracking.
Yeah, understandably so.
For guys like you and me, this is a blast.
Oh God, yeah, it absolutely is. It's going to be fun to hopefully get some access so we actually go in there and see them a little bit. I don't want the second time we've ever seen these guys.
We will have some access. Yes.
Well, that's good. I figured we have something, but who knows what that is.
If they put us all in a phone booth in center field in Boschhammer, and we get to each stand on top of the phone booth one by one for 5 seconds to try to look over to the practice field, that's not access.
No, it's not access. No, we need to be able to get in there a little bit, talk to some people. That's why, again, Mac was so great with that stuff. You got to talk to the coach, coach every week, position guys. You got to talk to players, especially in fall camp, pretty much every day almost. So, yeah, you can get a lot out of it. Be a little different this year, but you would love to have that kind of access this year because of all this new stuff going on. You know what I mean? So
I just want to have enough. Belichick's not going to change what he says that much. Mac told us a ton of stuff and gave us a lot of stories. I'd rather have less of Belichick if it's the same drumbeat, because in a way it gets us to the season faster.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about it when we launch our new thing. Once that becomes reality, we're going to do a lot of stuff on opportunity. That's going to be the theme of August, I've decided, even though we're in July. And it's opportunity. So that's going to be how we're going to push a lot of stuff in August, because it is about opportunity. And we're just going to have to accept the fact we're not going to get a ton. And I'm okay with it. I'm not complaining. I used to complain, not complaining anymore. It's reality. We've adapted already.
Yeah. It's just what you got to do, man.
They're going to play. They can't hide the games from us. So we're going to figure out what it's all about. We're going to know who's who.
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting. I'm excited about it. Like I said, it's creeping up. It is right around the corner. August 2nd, fall camp starts for the Tar Heels, year one under Bill Belichick. And and I know a lot of people are watching, and most people watching this think are really looking forward to it, but maybe a little bit nervous, like you said, about what is this team actually going to look like? Well, we will see, and hopefully we'll start to learn a little bit about that in fall camp. But let's wrap it up. We're going to do another one that focuses a little more on the defense, so stay tuned for that one. That will come out tomorrow, I believe, is the plan. We'll put that one out tomorrow. So, make sure.
Yeah, and then we're going to take a few days. We're not going to run anything. And then after that, our next drop, it won't be a drop, be a regular podcast. It'll be the launch.
Yeah. So it's here. It's almost here, man. It's almost here. It's exciting, man.
You talk about smelling it. I can smell it.
Yeah, you can smell the fall camp approaching. You can smell the new direction we're headed in fast approaching. Well, yeah.
I can look over here and see it.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's right there. We'd love to have been able to talk about it a little bit earlier, but it'll work well. We'll launch
contractually we can't. I'm just gonna say once again, because people are gonna bitch and moan. Contractually, we can't do it. Period.
Yeah, it's not us just being coy about it. No, it's got to do that. I'm not good at keeping secrets, man. I would have told you all 3 weeks ago if AJ would, if we were able to do that. But again, we're not. So we're just doing what we have to do. But yeah, announcement coming very, very soon. I've been saying announcement coming soon. I can now say announcement coming very, very soon. And that's the last thing we're going to say.
Announcement almost imminent.
Yeah, I was about to say announcement is almost imminent. Maybe for the defensive one, I'll say announcement imminent.
Because the next part we do after that will be the announcement pod.
Yeah, maybe I'll throw the imminent word in the next.
Which we're actually recording today.
Yeah, we're gonna do these back to back. So if we're wearing the same clothes, but why?
I'm not changing my shirt this week for this one. I'm just doing green all week.
I love it. I switched it up.
I didn't. Full disclosure, I completely forgot to bring another shirt down here. We do it sometimes to make it look like it's different days, just so people know.
Yeah,
a little inside baseball going on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's what we do. You got to do what you got to do sometimes. But yeah, I'm gonna wear this same shirt for the defensive drop, and then I'll probably change for the other one. But maybe not. Maybe we'll just keep it rolling. But again, we appreciate it. Get involved in the comments. Want to let you guys let us know about what you think about the offense. You concerned about the offensive line? Are you concerned about the quarterback position? Are you optimistic and excited about the wide receiver group? Let us know. We want to hear from you guys as always. Make sure you keep it locked to our social channels for when that announcement comes out. And subscribe over here and hit that notification bell too. We'll see y'all next time. Thanks.